This is Glenn Hughes, the voice of rock, and you're listening to Music Mania.
You ready for some screaming heavy metal? We rock!
But the evil that men do lives on.
We gonna bang your head!
You are now listening to the Music Mania podcast, brought to you by CD Warehouse in Gladstone, the #1 hard rock podcast in the Midwest, featuring hard-hitting interviews with rock's living legends. And now, here's your host, Clint Switzer.
Welcome to the Music Mania podcast, a true house of pain this week because we are going to be welcoming Rick Ruhl, frontman from Every Mother's Nightmare, a band I've been a fan of for many years now, a band that's still out there. They just put out a new album. It's called Grind. It is just what you'd expect from the high-octane, straightforward rockers from Memphis, Tennessee. And we're going to be talking with Rick about the band's upcoming tour dates, the latest album, the legacy of the band going back to the debut, and songs like Love Can Make You Blind, Walls Come Down, and of course, House of Pain. They became staples on MTV's Headbangers Ball. And then the follow-up album, Wake Up Screaming. That is my favorite album of theirs by far. The songs like Slip and Fall, Already Gone, Bang to the Bone. Have just been a fan of this band for a long time, and I know they get a lot of respect out there among the hard rock community, and it's great to be able to catch up with Rick and talk about everything that they've done and everything they've got coming up, man. He's a straight down-to-earth guy. We really appreciate the interview and being able to talk to him this week as things are just off and running here on the Music Mania podcast. I tell you what, the cold air of winter is behind us. We are heading off into spring and summer, which means more concerts, more time outdoors, more having fun with your friends and family, and that's what it's all about for us here on the Music Mania podcast. And we are kicking it off in style here with Rick Ruhl. This is an interview I've really been wanting to get for a long time and finally was able to make the connection with the band's management, and now here we go. It's on. We've got Rick Ruhl coming up right after I tell you about our sponsor. It is CD Warehouse in Gladstone, Missouri. For over 22 years, a staple of the Northland. I have bought 95% of the music I still own today from CD Warehouse. CDs, DVDs, vinyl, and more. Guys, they buy, sell, and trade. That is in Gladstone, Missouri. CD Warehouse. Hit them up. Randy Ringer. And I'll tell you what, let them know that Music Mania Podcast sent you, and they'll give you a discount. That is true. Rick Ruhl, hey man, I tell you what, it's great to hear from you. How's everything going? Welcome to the show. This is a huge pleasure for us, my friend. How's it going?
Oh man, it's going great. How y'all doing?
Oh, wonderful. I'll tell you what, it's something about this time of year. Winter starts kind of heading on the horizon. You've got spring coming up. That means, spring and summer concerts coming up. Can't beat this, my friend.
That's right, man. Get out on the
road. that's right. Absolutely. And, a lot going on for you guys, for Every Mother's Nightmare this summer, man. You guys got some shows. The one I'm so pumped about coming up, you guys are going to be at the Whiskey A Go-Go coming up here June 21st. How cool is that? That's going to be awesome.
Oh, man, it's our first time we've played up there a bunch. We've never got to play the Whiskey. So, yeah, man, looking forward to it.
Did you guys play any of the clubs, back in the early 90s in L.A.?
Man, we played, we used to stay up there at the Franklin Plaza Suites. We played everywhere up there. We played Spice Room, we played Viper Room, played everywhere. But we just never got to get in the Whiskey, but looks like we're going to now.
Yeah, absolutely. That is too cool, and it's just awesome. It seems like this band with had a kind of an infusion, and this started a few years ago. I think it was 5-6 years ago. You guys played Rocklahoma and really got things back on track. I mean, talk about how important that gig was for you guys, kind of getting to where you guys are now.
Man, it was, we've put the band back together, and it kind of hooked us up the first time with Bill Chavis, the guy from High Model Records. It just kind of put everything back in perspective for me. And, even though I lost 2 guitar players after that, it just kind of gave me a little bit of a break, and just wanted to try something new. And, that's when I started writing this record here. I just wanted to try something with a different producer, and try something a little different, a little new, and try something the new way, and turned out great. I'm happy as crap.
Love hearing that, Rick. I tell you what, to talk about the album, it's the album's called Grind. It came out back in 2017. This was your first Every Mother's Nightmare studio album in 15 years. Talk about how important that was for you guys to come out with this album. And to me, it is nothing but what you'd expect from Every Mother's Nightmare. Straight ahead, high octane rock and roll. That's what you guys bring, and that's what this album was, man.
That exactly, man. The whole idea when I went to the studio, I got in touch with Justin Reimer, the producer, and he's got a little bit of a twist on the way he likes to record. And I wasn't even for sure if he would even mess with a band. We were considered an '80s band, just because of the time that we were signed. But we went in there with one song. We went in there and did "Loco Crazy," and it just turned out really cool. We did a little flip on it, and kind of brought it up to date a little bit. And man, I can't be happier, man. It's been a beautiful thing. We've been playing all over the country, and the old fans have been coming out in droves, and a bunch of new fans. And man, it's it was a beautiful thing for us. It was a huge stepping stone in our career, to get us back on track and get back out there in the public and just do our thing,
That's what you guys, have been known for, and you guys have, several shows listed throughout the summer, and you can go to your website, emnrocks.com, to see all the dates. You got a couple shows in California and Washington, Utah, Colorado, so kind of a West Coast swing, but, you never know where you guys might pop up, man. I know you guys always, probably will plan for more shows. It's just got to be great being out on the road and playing these songs and people showing up, like you said, in droves to see this. It's got to be just a gratifying feeling for you, man. It's got to be really cool.
Oh, it's beautiful, man. I went to that thing called 80s in the Park down in Florida, and played with a bunch of bands from the day, and it was just, it's just good to be back out. We're getting to do our first overseas run this year, so we're looking forward to that. And they're throwing dates at us left and right. We've got a bunch of tentative dates. We've got about 20 dates that are lined up, but I haven't got them. I haven't put them on the website yet because nothing's in stone yet. So as soon as I put it in stone, they'll all fall apart.
No, that's it. Tends to be how it works. Is it? Well, you talked about, and I've always found this fascinating because Every Mother's Nightmare is a band that I don't really compare to any other band, because if I did, it'd have to be someone like Spread Eagle or Ugly Kid Joe, more of the straight ahead stuff. But you guys are compared.
Spread Eagle's one of my favorite bands. We used to tour with some guys all the time.
I love that's
a compliment to me.
Well, we got to make that happen in 2000. I know they still go out and play some shows too. That'd be awesome in 2018. But I tell you, talk about the timing of your guys' debut, because I think that if anything else, 1990, the debut on Arista Records comes out. You have the hits. You have Love Can Make You Blind, House of Pain. The timing of that, do you think it was hurtful at all? Because, you're already into the 90s, grunge was coming, it was sort of the end of the hair metal phase. Just kind of talk about the timing of that album and where you think you guys fit in the musical landscape at the time it came out.
Well, I think, everybody considered us an 80s band, but I think we were just a southern, pretty much just a southern rock and roll band. I don't even know if we were a southern band, we're just a rock band. I think we just kind of fell in it was a funny time, we were out on the road on our second record, and we were watching grunge come in, and we were telling the record label what all they were wanting to hear was another Love Can Make You Blind, and I'm very proud of that. It got me where I needed to be, but I was just watching the music was coming in. It was more street, it was more gut and more real music, and I watched it come in, and I had to see it happen. So I don't know where I fit in there, but I'm glad I'm still in there.
Well, you fit in very high in my world, in my catalog, because and the truth of it is, I'm a little younger. I'm only 34, but I came into Every Mother's Nightmare, and it was the Wake Up Screaming album, which controversially, I'm going to say, I am a bigger fan of. I think that's my favorite Every Mother's Nightmare album. I love Wake Up Screaming, man. I love that album. And it does not get near the respect, man. It doesn't get the respect.
Yeah, man. The only thing on that record, I think I sold my soul to the devil because I put 3 songs on there that we went for a little bit of money, and I did 3 songs on there that I didn't write, and I did it as a favor to Clive Davis, and it kind of come back to bite me in the butt. But you live and learn. I always tend to learn things the hard way. So
you got to learn it in some way. But you know what? The truth of it is, and I know the songs that you're probably referring to, but I think songs like "Already Gone," and I don't know if that's one of them. That's just an awesome song. You might be it could be considered a ballad, but I think it's a great hooky song, and I think that holds up whether it was intended that way or not.
Right. I think the more song I'm talking about was like I did a cover of Tobacco Road and two other songs that one song is is really good. I think it was called "I Had My Way" that I think the dude from Autograph wrote, and it was a good song. If it would have came out in '83 or something, it would have probably been tremendous. It was just grunge was coming in, like you said, and it was just wrong timing. But as far as the album, I love the album. It was a writing growth spurt for us. So I was very proud of it.
And yeah, that's the thing, is you could kind of see the progression of the band coming in. You know what it kind of reminds me of is Skid Row's debut and then the transition to Slave to the Grind. Like, I think that even though there was some, softer songs, I think it was still had a heavier, had a heavier straight ahead look. I love the, you bang to the bone. You talk about Slip and Fall. That's my favorite song on the album. I love, that's like straight. I love that song. Slip and Fall is awesome, man. That's a great one. I hope you still bust that out in the live set. I really hope so.
A lot of those songs turn up in. We try to change up the set as much as possible, but man, we're able to play anything. We'll just end up playing some Skinner songs and some other stuff. So,
well, you talk about the Memphis music scene when you guys were coming up. I mean, I assume you guys, were, formed or were coming up kind of in the late '80s and things like that before you released your debut. Just talk about the Memphis music scene. You guys never really, went to LA like a lot of the bands did. You stayed in in Memphis. Talk about the scene and kind of what was going on at the time in Memphis when you guys were coming up.
Well, when I first started trying to get a deal, I started writing my first batch of songs for a deal, and everybody was going to LA, and I was living in Knoxville or Gatlinburg, and I was right outside of Nashville, Tennessee, and I was like, every record label in the whole country is right here, an hour from my house. So first I moved to Nashville, and I got some contacts with my manager and stuff there, and then I moved to Memphis because the music scene down here, with Beale Street, and it's the home of Elvis. There's a lot of rock and roll, there's a lot of great blues down here, so I came down here on a whim to do a thing called a producer showcase, and I met like people like the first people I met down here was like Wayne Sweeney, who's now at Saliva, Zach Myers, just a bunch of people like that, tour guys, and we're all still friends. So I just fell into a bed of good rock and roll music and good people, and it's great.
Well, I back in the day, I mean, you guys toured with bands like Cheap Trick and Dream Theater. You played a lot of shows, but is there, you talked about Spread Eagle and some, they were from Texas, I think. You had guys like Junkyard from Texas, some good Lillian Axe from Louisiana, some bands that weren't from the LA scene. Are there bands like that you guys are kind of tight with today that you see out on the road? I mean, what kind of bands were you really tight with back in the day and today?
Back in the day, I think I was. We used to go out with a band called a Circus of Power. I don't know if you remember those guys.
Oh yeah. Dangerous Toys is another one.
Oh yeah, man. People like those. We went out with. I think we went out with a band, Sweet FA. I don't know if you heard of those.
Oh, definitely, absolutely.
But man, as far as we've been on the road with on and off with Tora for. Band since our first record came out, just bands like that we've always been associated with, and anybody that'll let us go out and play with them, we'll take it.
That's the attitude to have. Now on this new album, you had some really cool guest stars on this album, Grind. Talk about some of the guys that were able to come out. I think was Jim Dandy one of them.
Big Jim Dandy, yeah,
wow.
Man. He was in the studio a couple of nights with us, and we were doing a song stand up, and they were just talking about maybe him doing some backups or just singing something on there. And he came in one night, and I just told him to listen to it 2 or 3 times and just let him rip, let him do what he does. He's been doing this longer than all of us, and he's seen it all and done it all. So he jumped on the mic and started just, doing some of his hair bars and some stuff like that. And, man, it just fit. So, we had him. And then, like I said, we had, Zach Myers from Shinedown. He kind of hooked us up with the studio a little bit. So he came in and played on Loco Crazy. And then my buddy Wayne Sweeney, I was at a club one night, and he came up to me and goes, "How come I'm not playing on your record?" And so the next day he was in there, and he played on Snake. And man, I couldn't believe those guys would take the time to give an old rock band their talent for a couple of songs. And they came in, and like I said, we've been friends forever, and I am very blessed that they did.
I think that's what's cool about music, is that it spans so many, especially in this genre, that this rock and roll thing that this universe we're all involved in, because it spans so many people. I mean, a guy like Jim Dandy, who, a lot of people think, David Lee Roth kind of stole his gimmick, and, but it's got to be cool for you, someone, like Zach Myers of Shinedown. You probably find out, well, it's just crazy because they're a fan of yours, and you don't maybe not even realize it, but that you affected them in some way, and they're this band that's selling big arenas and stuff. But it's got to be cool for you guys to learn that the bands like that are just a fan of yours.
Yeah, hey man, I think I was probably the first person to ever record Zach Myers when I had my studio in Memphis. He was probably maybe 12, 14 years old. He was coming to my studio and recording he was doing blues stuff, and man, we just became friends, being his dad and him. We just, been friends this whole time, and it's a beautiful thing that they come back and help an old guy out.
Well, Rick, I tell you what, I wouldn't call you an old guy. You're one of the young ones, man.
Rock and roll thing's just a fad.
Hey, you're one of the young ones, my friend. That's not a bad thing at all. You're one of the young ones out there. That's got to be.
Yeah.
It's a positive, man. Well, I tell you what. We're here in Kansas City, Rick. We're going to have to get Every Mother's Nightmare here to the Midwest at some point. What do we have to do to make that happen? Because, you'll have me there at the very least.
Man, call Bill Chavis. Bill Chavis at Highball Music. Tell him to book us on out that way.
Hey, I'm going to do that. I'm going to get on that and make that happen. Because again, Rick, just a huge fan, and I tell you, it's just really cool catching up with you and talking about this. Every Mother's Nightmare is one of those bands that, like, growing, I was such a huge fan of, and it's always a band that you're like, hey, if you like, if you like Queensryche, check this out. If you like, Dangerous Toys, if you like Junkyard, check out these guys. And you're just one of those bands, I think, by word of mouth got around. You just guys kind of got around by, people finding the albums. It's so cool. I love that.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate you even talking to us, so I appreciate it a bunch.
Rick, hey,
I'll buy you a cold drink when I see you.
Hey, well, I'm gonna hold that. I'm gonna hold you to that, my friend. I'm gonna hold you to that, and we're gonna make that happen. I'll catch you guys out on the road. You can promise that, and I'll be hitting up your manager to put us on that guest list. I'm gonna have to do it. I'll buy a shirt though.
Hilarious.
I will buy a shirt.
You're in.
Rick, I'll tell you what, my friend, thank you so much. Best of luck this summer and all the shows coming up. Best of luck with the album. I know it's been received very well, and we're huge fans of it. So thank you so much, my man. We'll catch up soon.
Thank you, brother.
Good luck out there. Well, that was a huge pleasure to talk to Rick Ruhl, to talk about Every Mother's Nightmare. The new album is Grind. Go to their website, emnrocks.com, to check out all the tour dates and to pick up the album. I highly recommend it. It is great, straight ahead, high-octane rock and roll, just like it was meant to be. These Southern rockers do not mess around. This is not the typical, LA band of the era. They definitely stood out. They are different. Their sound is different. Their look was different in some ways. I mean, in a lot of ways, they did get pigeonholed with a lot of the hair bands because of a song like House of Pain or Love Can Make You Blind specifically. So I tell you what, guys, we always appreciate you hitting that download button, subscribing on iTunes and YouTube. Give us a follow on Twitter at musicmania_show. All the social medias, be sure to leave a comment. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know what guests you would like to see, and we will take it into consideration. Guys, this is a great time of year. We are off and running into the spring of 2018, and you are off and running here on the Music Mania podcast. We've got your back all spring and summer long.